In the period between late 2009 and early 2010, Wildlife Conservation Society and Ministry of Wildlife Conservation and Tourism, Government of Southern Sudan, with the support of USAID, put coloring devices on elephant, tiangs, Waidiakop. In Nimule National Park, Boma National Park, Badingalo Park, and Giraffe Game Reserve.
But it's not dark. There you go. Sorry, boy. Stick out on the neck.
Collaring has been practiced in so many countries in Africa, but it's the first of its kind in this country. What is important is that we need our people to be trained in that field. We need really a basic training in the means of chemical and biology, how to undertake this important task. It is through this exercise that we will be able to monitor our animals and to design a management plan to protect these animals.
These animals move in vast areas, and it's not easy to send just a patrol team to a certain area. With the help of collars, it will be easier to direct the patrol because it will give us exact areas that the animals move, and we'll know when we are sending patrol teams that these animals in this particular time are in this area.
When you are doing a collaring, you have to consider factors related to the animal. In the first place, when the animal is down, you need to assess. You need to approach the animal quietly so that it may not get excited and it may even decide to go. So when you approach the animal, you have to handle it with care.
The collar is fitted around the neck of an adult animal, and it has a battery life of about up to 3 years. And then the collar is engineered such that after almost 4 years, a little bit longer, it's built so it falls off the neck of the animal, and so it really has no effect.
Well, as you mentioned, you have to blindfold the animal. This is actually to protect the cornea of the animal from injuries and from dust, and also to keep the animal more calm, because if it is stimulated by stimuli, it may even decide to be nervous and can even injure the personnel.
And Aldo, one of the things you can notice first is the ears start moving more. See the ears? They start listening and stuff like that. Okay, see how the ears are moving more and more? Okay, now take the blindfold off. Take the blindfold off. Keep a hold of him. Take it off. Get the. Okay. That's right. Let him go. Let him go. Oh, it's tall grass, eh? Yeah. Perfect. You say, what have you done?
You don't want to chase the animal for too long, obviously, otherwise you're going to exhaust it and you could kill it by doing that. So generally when I start the chase, I hit the stopwatch, and certainly we don't want to chase an animal for more than 2 minutes, and ideally you want to dart in it within a minute.
Yeah, we push the elephant sideways so that it cannot be on its chest.
Push! Push! Stick out on the neck! Push! Right, excellent. Well done, gentlemen. Well done. Okay, all right.
Because when it's lying on its chest, it's press the lungs and it's prevent the animal from breathing. So if you cannot push it, it's difficult to push it. It's too heavy for us to push it. It will be better to reverse the drugs and let it go, so to keep it alive and safe.
Okay, what I want someone to do is just to get a stick, please. I like to get a little stick. I want you to get a stick to keep that open, eh? Okay. All right.
you know, the adult female elephant is colored, and the group is waiting about, you know, maybe a kilometer away, and then she gets up and goes, and, you know, within several hours she's back with the group. And the very next day we saw her moving with the group and her young ones.
And then factors related to the team that is going to conduct the collaring itself.
Well, as a veterinarian, thank God for helicopter pilots.
Really, for us, it's just to provide a platform to the vet. I mean, he's got to get the dart into the animal, get it into a good bit of muscle. Elephants are easy; they're a big target, so even Mike hits them. It's all about 4 people in the helicopter being a team. So, yeah, you've got to get out, help take blood, hold the animal, put the collar on, cut down a tree that the animal's fallen badly on.
Axe and panga, please. Right. You limit the things that are going to go wrong as much as possible. So you plan, and I think it's being very professional and being part of a team. This is not a game for individualists as such. You know, you've got to work together as a team to enhance success.
Yeah, in an immobilized animal, we tend to take some samples for specimen for laboratory diagnosis. We take blood so that we get the serum for survey of certain prevailing disease in the area. We also take hair for genetic analysis and the skin scraping for that purpose, for that matter, so that we will know actually the genes of those species, the genetic material of those species, and also to know whether these animals have been subjected to infection with certain prevailing disease, like for example the foot and mouth disease, the rinderpest. We can actually be able to detect this from the serum, the blood actually that is taken from the animal. And then also there's a danger from the drug use. The danger of the drug use actually for immobilizing animals is very toxic to humans.
Now this system is pretty reliable. One of the problems with it is you charge these darts with gas, with air, and occasionally they fail. So what we need to look at is once the animal gets darted and gets hit, if you guys can look at the plunger and see whether it's gone down.
Okay.
Yeah, and if it has, then we're on song.
Okay.
Yeah, we measure to know how old is the animal. That is, we measure the height of the animal. If it is an animal with horn, we measure the horns. In case of Tiang and white-eared cock, we measure the body length. We take the temperature of the animals. And in case of elephants, we measure the trunk and the tusk to know the age of the animal, and also to know the variations in the species that are related to this specific species in certain areas.
And then you have, in this study also you have to monitor the other parameters like the respiratory and the pulse rate. You have to monitor all those parameters so that the animal may not develop certain side effect due to the drugs, and he may eventually die.
Okay, his pulse oximetry is improved immediately.
120 centimeters. Still has ivory. Come here and measure it. Which one? From here, the ivory. Okay, you hold it.
What are you measuring now? The trunk? Yeah, probably here, eh? Just to measure the trunk.
Length of the trunk, yes. 30.
The GPS component is to give us the exact or the global positions of the animals, and it will be sending information on the position that the animal is, and the HF radio is also good for locating the positions of animals when people are using receivers.
Along with aerial surveys, they help us to find, to generate information about where animals go. What do they eat? Where do they spend their time in the dry season, in the wet season? Do males go further than females? So caldering goes along with all these other research activities that we're undertaking. This movement data will help identify corridors. Corridor is a term, just simply an avenue which wildlife need to get from one place to the next. You might need to get from this really important source of food to this really important water hole, and you always go in the same path. And if somebody were to build a dam and block that path and make a big lake, and you're an antelope and you don't cross big bodies of water very easily, then you would probably have a great deal of difficulty getting to that resource.
And we need to know also why these species migrate from certain areas to certain areas at certain times of the year.
The white-eared cob migration is estimated to be some 800,000 animals, and understanding how this migration moves is very important. So the tiang, we had estimated that there are about 150,000 tiang, and because they're very large-bodied, they move quite far. And so we really focused in on the larger-bodied antelopes which migrate because of their numbers and because of the long distances that we think they go. Elephants, of course, are very large-bodied, and elephants are crossing. They don't know the borders of a protected area. They don't know, they have no passport, no visa. They cross the borders into Ethiopia, into Kenya, Uganda. And so we're interested in knowing about these movements across borders, across the park boundaries into the community lands. And this information it's the first time this has ever been applied in southern Sudan. It's the first time that the migrations, the great migrations of southern Sudan have been studied.
Yeah, the message I want to pass to the entire people of southern Sudan is that we are starting the active conservation and management of wildlife of southern Sudan. For so many years they have been neglected, and now through this exercise we want to know the movement and the corridors where these animals move in order to give protection to these animals. And we need to protect these animals because they are our animals, they are our resources, and they can give a lot of benefit to southern Sudan for this generation.